right, welcome back. I am currently at the Home Depot headquarters. I was here for a work thing. Basically, it was like a networking thing that I just really wanted access to these amazing headquarters. So I was really shocked, and I guess everyone else knew this but me, but they have an entire museum here, a CVS, a Starbucks. It was just a really cool and impressive place. Been on my networking grind lately, so I headed over to the chamber to attend Membership Max, and yeah, let's catch you up a little bit on some work things. So for the most part, everything's been pretty chill, for the most part. I was so excited to see that league attendance had hit some record-breaking numbers this week. I really love league. Every night at 7 p.m. we offer a daily tournament, and we just get this great group from the community that comes out, from old people that have played poker for their whole lives to newbies like me. Pro tip, don't go if you have somewhere to be shortly. Other than that, I've been spending a lot more time in the office lately. It's been cute to watch everybody work on the hardware and the software and just kind of get ready for launch. We still have quite a bit to go, and we're still waiting on permits for the construction for the actual venue. But in the meantime, it's just neat. And again, a little league shout out. Really been excited. We've had this great promo for Halloween going on, and every Friday we're doing a little something special. So really just had a great October as far as Showdown's concerned. So Sam had started a new job recently, and she just got promoted. And since we haven't had a lot of time to go out and explore, we decided to check out St. Cecilia. And it did not disappoint. I definitely saw the Spanish influence, but it's meant to be more of an Italian restaurant. Appetizers were great. Bread left a little bit to be desired, but this pasta, the cacio e pepe tagliatelle, outrageous. 12 out of 10 will return. And while this is not breaking news, we're happy to report that fall is officially here and the windows are open. Now it's time to head to the movies with our cinematic crusader. Here with another titanium take, here's our movie maven Kai.
Well, hey there everybody, it is I, your movie maven Kai, and I am one of those chronic, I have to know what's going on in the world people, and I watch the news way too much. The news lately has been a train wreck. I don't have the streaming services that allow for, full news broadcasts. So I get it in the snippets like you would if you were doom scrolling, and you're following any of the news stations. And it's just, one thing after another. And it got me to the point where I could not watch any more current events. And so I got on a documentary kick, and a lot of, our lady friends, I do love a good, scandal, a good murder mystery, all of that stuff. So I watched a ton, and I came across one that is called Bad Actor. Nobody dies, nobody, gets maimed or anything. It is just an absolute roller coaster of a story. If you've not heard of it, and if you live in LA, or if you are at all close to the entertainment industry, you'll remember this. There's a guy named Zach Horowitz who, Zach Avery is what he went by, who basically ran a Ponzi scheme and, tricked a bunch of people out of a whole lot of money. But it wasn't just about tricking people. He was tricking prominent in the know, producers and writers and people who, kind of understand how things, happen in Hollywood. And he did it so convincingly that he ended up grifting $70 million by saying that he had, this treasure trove of movies that he had sold to things like HBO and Netflix, and was, sending. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. He was sending himself, these emails from these top executives. He was on a messaging app where he could set up messages that were going to be sent to him that said certain things. So it looked like everything was happening in real time. So when he was meeting with these people, one of them being his best friend that he met, doing audition circuits and, whatnot, it would look like he was talking to these people who were yeah, we're going to give you $10 million for this, and we're going to give you, whatever. And it looked like he was legit, like he was for real. It's absolutely insane. And it's funny because the filmmakers had contacted him and said, we want to talk to you about this. And he was like, yeah, I'll totally be a part of the documentary. Then they called him one day, and it's so funny. It's like the very first scene in the documentary. They called him and they were like, so we want to set up, a time to film and to talk to you. And he was like, who are you trying to call? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know him. That's, no, I'm not going to be part of it anymore. All this crazy stuff. So the way that the doc is, they hire reenactors to play this guy. And it's so funny. Like he has like these acting reels. If you don't know what those are, they're like, this compilation of, your best scenes so that you can send them to people and go like, oh, cast me in something or represent me as an agent or a manager. And they were all movies that he had taken this money from these people and self-produced so that he could be like the star. It's nuts. It's absolutely insane. I remember hearing about this because it started off as, just like a random news story, this guy's, being sued or whatever for 70 million for, extortion, basically. And then the story kept getting deeper and more involved. And they were talking about like how he was able to, pull all of this off. But it's just, it's absolutely insane. He's done like everything but admit that he did it. Like he wrote a book talking about like the whole scandal and the whole thing. And, in the documentary, they have people playing the different people in his life, and talking about like, oh yeah, we met, during this, and, his longtime girlfriend didn't even know that it was a hoax, and he was, taking chartered airplanes places and, all of this. And they broke down essentially what a Ponzi scheme is and how it works and how people who get into them rarely have like this exit strategy. And it's like, even if you get caught up in it, you don't really have a lot of recourse because you can, he can get sent to jail, but all of that money is already spent. It's already gone, so it's like, well, as long as you're doing it, you might as well live it up while you're doing it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And it really speaks to, the mind of a person who can pull something like all of this off, because you have somebody who is convincing, who is charming, who, knows how to set these things up. Sending yourself text messages in real time, through an app, like it's, all of it is so deeply premeditated. And he was so thoughtful and so meticulous. And he was able to convince these people, like, I have these big deals. I have access to, these executives, these major movie studios. And yet, he's not getting put into any of these movies except for the ones that he has like self-produced and written. There was one that he made that was like, they said it was almost mirroring some of the, the things that he was doing and like how he got caught in the script. It's insane. I very, very highly recommend watching it because it is like watching a produced movie, and there's a lot of twists all the way through it, not just in the story, but also in the way that they made the film and the doc. So it's like, it's very interesting, and it's a really cool format that they use. I love a good documentary. I will watch Forensic Files for hours and hours and hours, but it all gets very formulaic. It's like, okay, they're going to, show this, they're going to show that, they're going to have a red herring set up. You're going to think it's this guy. You're going to think it's that guy. Then all of a sudden the guy shows up and he's not in jail. So I guess he didn't actually do it. You get that with a lot of, documentaries like this, not this one, not this one. It's a fun watch, but it's also really insightful when they start talking to like forensic analysts and, people who talk about, his behavior and the irony behind the fact that he was able to fool every single person in his life for a decade. His longtime girlfriend, who he married in this big extravagant wedding, had no idea that he was a fraud, but the irony that he was able to pull all of that off. And the reason why he even started was because he could not get a job in Hollywood. Everyone talked about like how he just wasn't that good of an actor, that he just didn't have that talent, that charisma, you know, those things that people look for when, you know, they're casting. So he had to do this on his own. And it was really, really good. I watched so many documentaries and like this one really stood out to me. So I highly recommend it. It's getting to be that season with that weather where you go like, I just want to curl up. I want to be captivated by something. This is a good one to get into. Speaking of, it is getting to be that weather. October is here, guys. October. Ordinarily, this is my favorite month. Ordinarily, I am looking forward to all the spooky time and trick-or-treating with the kid and, you know, doing all that fun stuff. And there's a lot going on in my life right now where I have to deal with the fact that all of these things are heavy, very, very heavy. And this is the time of year that, you know, I'm usually so calm and joyful and relaxed because, you know, it's my favorite time. And it's really hard to kind of reconcile, you know, all of that stuff within that. And I know that a lot of people around this time, you know, the days get shorter, it gets darker sooner, the weather turns cold, and people are hit with seasonal affective disorder, seasonal depression, you know, all of that stuff. And I just want to make sure that, you know, everybody understands that the seasons change, the time passes, and you get through it. Every bad day you've ever had, you've made it through. And I think that, you know, when all of this kind of comes up in, you know, my life, and I have to reflect on it, I also have to understand that, you know, there's a lot of people that feel this way, you know, about this time of year when I'm sitting here going, oh, it's the best. And it's not the best for them. And so, you know, being able to reflect and understand that, it's just a good reminder of being understanding and kind and offering grace, but also within that having the balance of not allowing the people who will take advantage of a situation like that or advantage of excuses like that, because your behavior is your behavior, your feelings are your feelings, and you are 100% valid in whatever you're feeling, but you still have to be accountable for the way that you act within those feelings. And I think it's a good thing for all of us to consider, you know, if you do, you know, step out of line, make sure that you hold yourself accountable and you apologize to those people. If you can't apologize to those people, say it's some random stranger that you pass on the street, you know, make sure that you are understanding that, it's an opportunity for you to learn from the situation and do better in the future. Because when we know better, we do better, right? Right. It's a rough time, guys. It's been a rough time. I feel like I've said that every review for the last 8 months, 10 months, almost a year. But we're getting through it, and we're getting through it together. We're getting through it on our own. Remember to reach out to those people that you trust, that you love. September was Suicide Prevention Month, and it's something that is great for highlighting and passing information, but it's also something that you should carry with you all the time. Understanding that, people do have these feelings, people do, need support and love, and to reach out and make sure that, you're not just, backing up your sad friends, you're backing up your strong friends too, because a lot of times they're the ones who need that reassurance the most. So we love you guys, and we hope that you're doing okay. And if you're not doing okay, we hope that it gets better. We know it's going to get better. And we hope that, even if the days are hard, you make it through, and you shake it off, you rinse, repeat the next day until it gets better, because it does get better, guys. We love you. Just remember, two of the most important things: drink your water, take your meds, We'll see you next time.